This is a TCEA remote learning video. This is part 5 of the remote learning with Google Classroom. In this video, I'm going to try to show you how you can use Google Forms to make a quiz for Google Classroom and a couple of the features of a quiz in a Google Classroom. My name is Jennifer Berglund. You can reach me at jberglund@tcea.org. Couple of things I want to mention before we get into the demo. First of all, I want to make sure you know that you can take a form that you have created in your Google Drive, and then you can turn it into a quiz and then associate it with a quiz, an assignment in the Google Classroom. So you can create that quiz prior to you creating the assignment in the Google Classroom, or you can be creating your assignment and make the quiz while you're doing that as well. And I'll show you how to do both. Second, want to make sure you know that you can set it up to where Google Classroom will automatically grade the quiz and submit that grade into your Google Classroom gradebook, as long as you don't have any short answer questions that need to be manually graded. If you have questions like that, then you will need to choose the manually graded option. Also, it's important to always know that you can reuse questions within a Google quiz, or even from a quiz from another quiz, questions from another quiz. And then also, I want to make sure you know that you can set it up to where the student can start the quiz but not get into the actual questions until you give even a portion of the quiz until you give them a passcode. And that way you get to kind of control when they get into the quiz and start taking it. All right, let's go ahead and go and look at taking a quiz taking up a Google form and turning it into a quiz. So in this particular example, I have created just a form, but I need now to turn it into a quiz. So I am going to do that by going up to my settings, and I'm going to click on this option over here where it says quizzes. When I do that, I'm going to turn on this feature, make this a quiz. This gives me a couple of extra options. One of them is I could make this a locked mode, so that students, if all my students were using Chromebook, I could make it to where they couldn't go, they couldn't search anywhere, go to a tab, go to the internet or anything to look for answers. But if I'm have any other devices, I do not want to turn that on. So I'm not turning that on. This is a multiple choice quiz. So I'm going to let the students, I'm going to let it grade it and let the students get the responses immediately. And I want my kids to be able to see what questions they missed, what the correct answers were, and the point values. So I'm just going to click save. Now, when I do that, I now have some additional options for my multiple choice questions. When I click on the question, I now have this ability to turn this to allow me to tell Google Classroom what's the correct answer. So I'm going to click on answer key. Which war had more casualties? The answer, American casualties. The answer is Civil War. And I want to make this, I've got 5 questions, so I'm going to make them 20 points apiece, right? This one, I'm going to click on it again, and this says, which was the last Southern state to secede from the Union? To be honest, I can't remember. I have my answer key over here. It's Tennessee, so I'm going to come and click on Tennessee as the correct answer. I need to click on answer key. Tennessee is the answer. I need to let it know that it's 20 points. Which battles had the most casualties? The answer is Gettysburg, although Antietam is considered the bloodiest battle of the war. Gettysburg has the most I need to click on answer key. I keep forgetting to do that. So when I do that, then I can assign the points and let it know what's the correct answer. Click on done. Who was the president of the United States? Click on that. Click on answer key. Now I can say that it's Abraham Lincoln. I need to give it points. Done. And then who was the president of the Confederacy? Click on answer key. That is Jefferson Davis, and click on 20 points. And now I have turned all of that to where it will know, it'll let the individual know what they got was correct or not. I need to make all of these required because they all are required. In order for them to get the full 100 points, I need to make sure they answer all of them. All right, so let's just look at what this looks like now. So I put in the name of the individual. Here is, I'm answering the questions. I'm going to get at least one of those wrong. Let's get 2 of them wrong, actually. Click on submit. And now I can see the view score, and you can see how it lets me know what I made and which questions I got wrong. Okay, so now let's go in to my Google Classroom and let's create a quiz for that. So I'm going to come up to create. I'm going to come down to quiz assignment. It's going to automatically create a quiz, a blank quiz for me. And I could have created it this way and actually, inserted all the questions right within this assignment, but I've already done it. So I'm going to click on that X to get out of that. And I'm going to come here to add, come down to my Google Drive. And then I'm going to look at find the quiz on Civil War. I'm going to associate it with this quiz. I'm just going to call it quiz on Civil War battles. Please take this quiz. I'm not going to turn on the lock mode. I want the grade importing to, I want that turned on. And I am going to associate it with Civil War topic. And I'm not going to put a due date, but I am going to assign it. All right, let's go in to see what a student would see. Let's go to Thomas Paine. Let's see if Thomas Paine can do this. So let's find Civil War. Let's go to another student. I want you to note, because I've heard this, I've seen somebody ask this question: what happens if an assignment doesn't get it assigned to a student, and they're in your classroom? What I have done is, that's happened to me one other time, and it just happened to me now when I was trying to do it with Thomas Paine. And actually, he was the student that I had trouble the last time. What I ended up doing is completely getting Thomas out of Google Classroom and come back in, and then it got assigned. So just, if that happens to you, that was the solution that I found. All right, so I'm now in as Daisy May Librarian, and so I'm going to come in and view the assignment. And I just want to go back through this very quickly and take the quiz. Let's see, Daisy May, she reads a lot, so she's going to know all the right answers. So she's going to click on submit. She wants to view her score, and she sees that she got all of them correct. She made 100 out of 100. Goes back to this tab. Now she can click on open assignment, and she can see that she submitted it. So that's how you turn a regular form into a quiz, and you create your teacher, your key for your for it to be able to grade. Okay, let's make a quiz now that has open response, and it requires the student to create a code in order to get into the quiz. So I'm going to come down to quiz assignment. I am going to go ahead and use the blank one that came with the assignment. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to import some questions from another quiz. So I'm going to come over here to the right and hover over this menu until I see import questions. I'm going to click on import. I'm going to find the quiz that I want to import questions from. We're going to use this one on the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. And I am going to select the questions I want, first name, last name, and these questions down here, and I'm going to import those. I'm going to name it Bill of Rights quiz. This first question came in and I don't need it, so I'm going to get rid of it because here's my first name, and then here's my last name, and then here's my first question. But I want to create a place where my students are going to have to insert a code in order to be able to get to the rest of the test. So I am going to come to this question right here because I want my validation question to be right after the last name. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to add a question. I'm going to turn that into a short answer. When I do that, these three dots over here are going to give me either I can write a description just below the question, or I can add a response validation. So I'm going to click on that. The question is just going to be insert test code. Okay. Then I can either do number or text. There are other things I can do, but really the only two that most teachers will use would be a number or a text. So do you want them to put in a number or do you want them to put in a word? For this one, I'm just going to say number, and I want it to be equal to, and I'm just going to say 6, 7, and 8. That's going to be my number. And over here, I'm going to say ask teacher for code. This, in case they enter a wrong number, it's going to give them this, all right? And I'm going to make this required. All right, so now in order to do this, I need to add a section. So I am going to come over here and put add section, and I'm just going to put test questions here. The reason why you do that is because this makes it to where these questions right here in section 1 will be on one screen, and then after you enter the text code, it will go to the next screen. So let me let you look at that. So I'm going to do preview, and here it asks me to put in my first name. Here it asks me to put in my last name, and here it asks me to put in my code. Let's say I write in dog there because I think that's what it is. And so when I hit next, it's going to give me that prompt, ask teacher for code. So let's say I ask the teacher and she tells me it's 6, 7, 8. Now when I click on next, the questions appear. So these are all open-ended questions. So I am just going to write open-ended questions. I mean, I'm just going to type test and submit. Now, I'm still in my teacher account. So I need to go back. I've created my quiz, and I need to call this Bill of Rights quiz. I want to say, take this quiz. I am going to associate, I'm just going to keep it in no topic so that it will pop up at the top of the stream. And I am going to go ahead and click assign. So now let's go in. You can see I didn't quite get it all. I didn't type Q in there, but I do want you to notice it turned the name of the quiz into Bill of Rights quiz. Okay. All right. Let's go in as a student and see what it looks like. Let's let Sassy Senior take this quiz. So I'm going to go into her classroom. She's going to go to her classwork. She's going to come down here to the quiz. She is going to open it. She's going to see that it's been assigned. It hadn't been turned in. She's going to click on the quiz. She's going to put in her first name, code, and then she's going to give her answers. So now that she has done that, she can open up the assignment. She'll note that the assignment has been turned in. The teacher, because it is a manually graded assignment, the teacher will need to go back into the document, the quiz, the way she wrote it, and you'll notice that she has a couple of responses. She could certainly grade them this way, but it'd be very cumbersome to do that. So she would want to go into her and create a spreadsheet, which will open, and then she will more than likely want to come to this last column and add the word grade, a column for grades, and then she could put the grades in there. And let's say both of them received 100, and then she will need to manually insert those into the students once they turn them in. And once they do, she'll click on it's Sassy Senior is clicked on, and so now she can click return. And now Sassy Senior can go back into her assignment. So she'll come and see that she received 100. All right, so that pretty much sums up how you use the Google Classroom with forms to make quizzes.